What's up everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fry School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Pardon the audio, I am bringing you this video from my favorite hallway. Some of you have even concluded that I'm making the videos from my shower these days. Well, I don't want to argue with you. Anyways, Hazardor Gaming, Dragon of Dojima's Twitter account reported that somewhere, somehow, the CEO of Krafton doesn't have any confidence that a Hi-Fi Rush 2 is going to make a lot of money. He said, "We don't think Hi-Fi Rush 2 is going to make us money," says Krafton CEO. Tango Gameworks acquisition is about legacy and creativity. Tango Gameworks are creative. They want to try something new, and we want to do more of that. There's an article on GameDevelop.com, which I'm going to read later. However, these statements are very indicative of something that I suspected a while ago. The conversation about Hi-Fi Rush was that this game was, successful and so on and so forth. But we know sometimes executives will make information that is not so painful sound, in a sense, padded. Now, as to the sales and as to the metrics, as to the time for development and so on and so forth, perhaps the game broke even, made a little bit of money when they went to PlayStation, probably made a little more. But if you had to put this development team on another 4-year run, or maybe less, to make Hi-Fi Rush, what this Krafton CEO was probably thinking is we could probably make another game that has more commercial viability rather than have to sit here after having acquired this studio and then worry if the Hi-Fi Rush 2 game is going to be a hit. This is the thing with gamers. You see on Twitter, all of you shout and vibe and sing your choruses, but gamers are then playing Call of Duty and Minecraft and Roblox, and Epic Games is Fortnite, and EA Sports is college football, and EA Sports is FC 24, 25, and they're not buying these games as much as these people would love. Also, when Krafton acquired this company, I was saying to myself, I think people don't really remember who Krafton is. If you want to know just a little bit, go watch Glenn Schofield's interview on the problems with Callisto Protocol. Now, yes, as a creative lead, he has his own, responsibilities and he has his own blame. However, he pointed out a few things where you would actually see the tussle that goes on between creatives and investors. A lot of these investors don't play games, so in their minds, they can make some really interesting decisions. Now, I'm not saying that the Krafton CEO is wrong in his assessment or correct. In fact, as a gamer, I will tell you that he's actually wrong, simply because all he needs to do is probably maybe not make a Hi-Fi Rush 2 game, but make a game in the Hi-Fi Rush universe, basically rebooting the series, and take the approach that PlayStation is about to take right now with the Lego Horizon Adventure game, and launch it on platforms that it will more than likely do well on, like the Nintendo Switch. Launch it immediately on PC, launch it on Xbox, launch it everywhere that you can get your hands on the PlayStation 4 as well. Even though people are thinking the PlayStation 4 is done, screw that. There's still basically about 40 to 50% of PlayStation users that are still on the PlayStation 4. Launch it on the Xbox One. If you can launch it on a calculator, launch it on a calculator. That is the approach that I would probably say to take, because yes, as much as I told you that a lot of gamers are not buying these games, how you actually go against that grain is that you make your game available everywhere. Ask Hogwarts Legacy and ask Elden Ring. So once again, this studio has fallen into the hands of a company that I don't necessarily know what their record is. All I have is just this particular last game that they did, Callisto Protocol. And you could already see that the streets are kind of tough when it comes to video game development, when it comes to video game publishing, and when it comes to sales of video games. The streets are tough out here. Even PlayStation themselves are looking for ways to sell their game. PlayStation, the publisher that is kind of, in a sense, put itself in this aura of so-called exclusivity, like, you can only play our games on this platform, is running, they're with a dump truck, they're filling up the PC space and the PC landscape. It's only a matter of time before you play another PlayStation game on Xbox. I keep saying this, people think it's a lie. You gotta understand that content is what brings money. Very simple as that. PlayStation is already failing in its live service proposition because it's negating Xbox, which has a very attractable live service audience. Most Xbox players are also playing the same kinds of games as well. So them leaving 27, 30 million customers on the table because they want to maintain some kind of exclusivity to attract live service players to their platform in a year where you have Apex Legends and all these other games is already a failure. Just let's call it what it is. Simple as that. The streets are tough. And so seeing this particular article, in my opinion, makes it very interesting for me to be able to just say to myself, what are they even thinking? What are they doing? The memes are already in. Somebody said Krafton doing a better job than Microsoft doesn't surprise me. A better job at what? Callisto Protocol? Okay, if you keep saying that. This kind of games are necessary to keep good public image alive. Look at Astrobot and PlayStation, because having good image will raise brand confidence and it translates into more sales of all your products. Look at this guy. Brand image is good, but money is also good to have, because if your brand image is there and money is not available, your image can only take you so far. They have to go hand in hand. The reason you can see a game like Astrobot is because PlayStation already has secured a lot of different things to provide financially for its companies and its game development studios. Example, microtransactions, subscription costs, and all of the others that are coming in, of which even in their analyses they say is something that is still stretching them financially in content acquisition. So you can image all you want, but you're just basically playing games. This is exactly what this person is basically saying it. This is what PlayStation does, by the way. I hope you guys know. Xbox said it and there was an uproar. No matter how good the game is, it just wasn't going to sell much and it wasn't making any money. Another thing that they can do is they can scale down the production of the game, or they can go with dual production. They can develop the game that they're actually, trying to develop, or whatever they're trying to target, and then do Hi-Fi Rush on the side. The studio has Unreal Engine expertise. That's where Hi-Fi Rush was made on. They used Unreal Engine 4 to crank out the game. Some people are saying Evil Within Part 3. Evil Within did not sell very well. I think, when they talked about Tango, I was like, man, this studio, how many games have they made in about 13 years? Having been, I think, established / being under Bethesda and so on and so forth. And it just seemed like the studio was finding it difficult to, get the traction off the ground. If you ask me, from a business perspective, I think they're creative. I'm not saying that they're not creative, but again, when you're in the gaming industry, because of how long it takes you to make these games, you got to look at it like, let's look at Evil Within sales. Let's see exactly what's going on here. Evil Within, how many copies did it sell? I don't know. Somewhere around 1.2 million copies for the first game. The Evil Within sells an estimated 211,000 units on the first day or so. So the sales for the Evil Within was just, not there to even show confidence. I mean, studios are gutting games because they can't sell more than, even in some cases, 5 million copies. Studios are complaining. Square Enix is saying Final Fantasy 16 is not, did not meet their profitability expectations, even at about 3 or maybe 4 million copies, and with an exclusivity bag in their hands. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, what are they talking about in terms of its profitability not hitting the mark? Because again, players, eventually can lose interest. They can move on. They can say, I'm going to pay, $120 for Final Fantasy that I already played when I was, a teenager. I mean, there are all these different factors that you must take into account. So not paying attention to this and just dialing into, the roar that people want to roar on the internet, to me, has just always been really interesting. So at the end of the day, Krafton is going to have this studio make the kind of game that they feel is commercially viable. And man, I hope that they're able to knock it out of the park. I would love to see what they're here to do. I bought Callisto Protocol. I refunded it because I was like, man, I don't think this game is for me. They eventually gave it away for free on the Epic Games Store. I downloaded it. I still have it, but I've not really gone back into it. Perhaps I missed out something. Perhaps it was a sleeping gem. But this is where rubber meets the road. I think gaming is going to survive if it went back to gaming of what it looked like before, where 100 people will create a really beautiful game with passion, creativity, and drive. And those studios are there. They exist. They're just waiting their turn to shine. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. Let's talk in the comment section. Peace out.